What's going on, everyone? So today I'm going to be reviewing Major Fraud, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and this is a documentary. Going to change things up a bit and talk about a documentary. This is my favorite documentary, but I mean that kind of wins by default because it's like the only documentary I've seen. So this is about a Who Wants to Be a Millionaire contestant called Charles Ingram, and he actually won the £1 million. But he cheated. And this actually is a really good documentary. It's good at showing you sort of what people backstage were thinking, and then it shows you sort of what happened, and sort of it ties in what they thought to what happened, and that's really good. So it's about Charles Ingram and his wife Diana, and they actually work or sort of make a deal with one of the other contestants called Tequan Wittick, and every time sort of Charles he sort of mentions the answer, they would make up a sign so Tequan would tell Charles that that's the answer. So Tequan would cough every time Charles said the answer. So example, say there's a question between A and B. So for example, Charles would be like, I think it's A, but it might be B. Yep, lock in B. And this strategy actually goes on for a lot of questions until it very obviously sort of gets revealed, because Charles sort of doesn't remember or sort of forgets the formula, and he actually thinks that the answer is, I think it's like, I don't know what the actual question is, but the answer is Paris, and Charles actually thinks that it's Berlin, but Charles never actually said, it might be Paris, because then Tequan would cough and he'd know that it's Paris, but he actually thinks that it's Berlin, and the entire question he's like, I think it's Berlin, it's Berlin, yep, Berlin, 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 I think it's Berlin, or it might be Paris. Yep, it's Paris, lock in Paris. It's like he just completely changes his mind, and when he's actually talking about Berlin, he's like, it might be Berlin. Off screen, no joke, Tequan actually goes, no! It's like, it's so freaking obvious. He actually coughs and says no, because if he coughs and didn't say no, then Charles would actually think that it is Berlin. But he actually coughs and says no, and he actually starts to like blow his nose. So then maybe that's like a impromptu sign of saying it's not that, and he starts blowing his nose, and then he changes to Paris. He says Paris, and then all of a sudden he just changes his mind and gets the question right, and that's really suspicious. But did they not sort of think of, if we sort of forget the formula, could you maybe think of another way of saying no, rather than just going, no? Like, it's so obvious. He doesn't yell out no, but he also doesn't whisper. He's not like, no. He's like, no. It's very, very sharp and loud whisper. And it really didn't work out, because two of the contestants noticed Tequan was cheating, so they obviously went to Who Wants to Be a Millionaire people, and they said, I have suspicion that he's cheating. And the people working on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, they also figured out, or they sort of noticed that something wasn't really adding up, that he was constantly changing his answers. He didn't seem too confident, and then he just all of a sudden said, oh yeah, it's this answer. Like, all of a sudden he just snapped into confidence, and they also sort of thought, maybe something's not right here. But even though they had suspicion, they still needed proof, and they didn't really know what the pattern was. They knew he was up to something, but they couldn't really tell what he was doing. They couldn't tell if he was coughing, if he was making eye contact with Tequan, and maybe like a wink or an eye scratch or something like that meant A, B, C, or whatever. Like, they couldn't tell what the signals were. And you can actually hear, because they've turned up Tequan's volume, you can actually hear Tequan lean over and ask other contestants what the answer is, and then straight away when Charles says, it might be C, then you can hear Tequan cough. So he doesn't know, and he asks the other contestants. So because they're suspicious, immediately after the episode airs, they go through the tapes and they try and find something, because they don't know what the pattern is. They try and find something that can prove that he was cheating, because they all believe that he was. So when they do find out that he was cheating, they call him up and they're like, hey, sorry mate, we have to take away the money because we have suspicions that you're cheating. And he's seriously like, oh yeah, thanks for letting me know, bye. Like, he just hangs up straight away. So in conclusion, I highly recommend this documentary. It's really, really good. I usually don't watch documentaries. Like, this is my first documentary I've seen, and it's just awesome. So go check it out. I hope you guys enjoy it. I give it an 8 out of 10. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you like it, please click the like button, and I will see you guys in the next video. See you guys.